Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ramaswamy Augustine. Today I have another reaction video, but this time around I'm going for American politics. You know, I'm a big fan of the United States of America, and I have a politician here known as Vivek Ramaswamy. I hope I pronounced it nice. So if you haven't subscribed, just subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that when I upload videos similar to this one, you're in that position to be notified, like for the purpose of the Arrogal team. So let's dive immediately and see what this gentleman is saying about American politics. I believe we are going to watch part of it, which is for entertainment, learning, and more.
Vivek Ramaswamy, Republican presidential candidate. Thank you for joining Scripted News. Good to be here. Well, I want to start with just a little bit about you. You're at a bar in Manchester. This is the type of stuff that you've been doing for a number of months now. In this state, in Iowa, you've seen some positive movement in the polls. But before we get to that, I just want to know, 37 years old, a biotech entrepreneur who decided not only to get into politics, but to run for the highest office in the land. What made you run for president?
So look, I've lived the American dream. My parents came to this country with almost no money. I've gone on to found multi-billion-dollar companies that develop life-saving medicine. Another that competes against firms like BlackRock and other large financial institutions.
So one thing which I also get excited now and again is the American dream, that you as an individual, you can come from your country. For instance, I am from Kenya, a third world country, as we have been sold to. Is a third world country, and being in that position, or in being in in a fantasy world that you can go to the United States of America, starting from zero, work hard, do your thing genuinely, and end up being successful, is something which really excites me about the United States of America. And as you are seeing, this is an individual who his parents started from nothing, and him as an individual also started from nothing, but he has built a name for himself. He has built some wealth for himself. So that's what we have to appreciate about the United States of America in terms of opportunities. And if you are driven, you can be in a good position to be successful. So for Americans, that's amazing.
And I did it while getting married, having 2 kids, following my faith. To me, that's the American dream. And I worry that American dream isn't going to exist for the next generation. I think for a long time, we conservatives have been running from something. Now's our moment to start running to something, to our vision of what it means to be American. And as the first millennial to ever run for the nomination for president as a Republican, I think it is my responsibility to reach that next generation. That's why I'm in this race.
I was surprised to hear that you had not voted until 2020, until the 2020 presidential election. So you voted for the first time. Now it's a little bit over 2 years. You're running for president. That's a pretty big jump to just go from voting now 2.5 years later to run.
I mean, the reality is.
So I think I can put myself in Vivek Ramaswamy's shoes. I first voted in 2018, not 2017. I voted for, this is at my place, and also I voted in 2022. But according to what has been happening in terms of politics, I don't think that I would never, or I would be pressurized to go and vote again. I can even decide to just leave it alone and do my own thing without having that pressure of going and voting for somebody, because I don't see any reason, because there are no changes which are being done. So probably he was disappointed. That's the main reason why he has never voted before, and it was the first time in 2020. That's when he voted, and it's genuine, because that's not a crime which he has committed. You can decide not to vote or vote. It's a what? It's a choice, and you have that freedom. If it was a mistake which he committed, then we could have discussed that. But some people are going to say that it's in terms of moral grounds. Why are you not voting? You are really contributing to bad leadership. That's bullshit. Do it your own thing. I really don't care.
Most young people in this country don't vote because they're not excited by the candidates that they see. And in my 20s, I was much the same way. Something changed for me when I became a father.
Yeah, it's very true. Some people are not voting because they are really disappointed. There are no really leadership. There are no people who are giving them good reasons or have done something which is impactful for them to go and vote for them. So most politicians are just liars. They are going there for their own stomachs. So why can I go and give someone a job and he doesn't reward me in terms of development? I don't want to be to be given cash as an individual. I want someone who can develop roads, who can bring electricity to the nearest place where I stay, such that I can get it. But if you are just selling me lies, and after I've put you in the office and there's nothing which I'm going to get out of it, then that's bullshit, and voting can be not something which I'm excited to do.
In 2020, that's when my first son was born. It just changed my perspective to say that I'm not just going to passively sit aside and just because I'm not excited by other candidates, I'm not going to be engaged. I stepped down from my job as a biotech CEO. I started writing extensively. I wrote 3 books in the last 2 years as well. So that's also not something that usually happens over a 2-year period, but I've become obsessed with reviving our national identity, because if I was to go back and do it again, absolutely, I would want to be more engaged in my 20s as a citizen. But I also think I have the best understanding of how to reach that next generation. And frankly, we're already doing it in this campaign. Most of our supporters are young people. Most of our donors are first-time ever donors. 30% of them, first time they've ever donated to a Republican was their donation to me. Normally that's 2% in a campaign. So in many ways, it's my responsibility. I feel that responsibility to reach young Americans because I know what it's like to be in their shoes.
Yeah.
In many ways, I still am.
One of the proposals that you put forth that has gotten the most attention is adding certain prerequisites for young people to vote, for the under 25 crowd. You know, that's a group that, as you kind of are proof of, is not as engaged as their older generation. So why do you think it's important for young people, whether it is to take the citizenship test or to have some form of service? Why do you think that they need an extra step in order to be able to vote?
I think, and I can say this.
So before, he just gives reasons why. Probably his suggestion that if you are a youth, if you are maybe before you are given that opportunity to vote, there are some standards which you need to pass. It's true, even in terms of kids who are, they say that something which you have not really worked hard for, some people don't have that energy, or they don't have that kind of drive to take care of it. That's what happens even in most families where kids have inherited a lot of wealth. They tend to misuse that wealth, they tend to misuse social resources, and they take them for granted. So that's the same case which probably should be done in most countries, that you need to serve a given role, whether in military, whether you need to do some tests, whether you need to frontier, so that you can really take this opportunity of being maybe a citizen of Kenya, a citizen of the US, a citizen of Zimbabwe, a citizen of Uganda, as something which you have earned. It's not something which you have been given for free, because you will not take care of it, you will not appreciate it. And this is a good idea, I really appreciate it. But the individual who is just suggesting it's a good idea, I've also never volunteered in anything, but probably I was not in that position, and I don't think I could have done it if it was something which really was not equipping with me something. But if it's something which is being enrolled for the whole purpose of the community, then I could volunteer myself in doing that activity. So Vivek Ramaswamy is really doing nice in terms of suggesting those kind of roles that individuals need to take some tests, need to volunteer in some activities before they are given that opportunity to vote in politics.
This is first personal for me. Young people don't value something they passively inherit. We value something we have a stake in building, in knowing something about. Voting rates are rock bottom for people of age 18 to 25. Personally, I think every 18-year-old should have to pass the same test that an immigrant has to pass in order to become a citizen of this country. And you know what? If I had been asked to pass that test, absolutely I would have done it, and absolutely I would have voted. So I think voting rates will skyrocket in this country amongst young people after we actually make it mean something. But right now, everyone's just going through the motions. We have to fill that hunger for purpose and meaning with the vision of what it actually means to be a citizen of this country. That's what I'm looking to deliver.
I think some people watching are.
So it's very true. Even in my country, you'll see some buildings are being destroyed, some roads are being destroyed, other people's property are being destroyed, government resources are being destroyed because individuals they are not in that position to be so patriotic because they see themselves that they have not played any role in maybe building those roads, raising those buildings, things which have been done, and you have found them. You have not played in any role. For example, you have not dug any tunnels which can be used for sewage system. So if individuals play a role in construction of those activities, then I believe most of the destruction which is happening within the country, for instance Kenya and even the US, when the George Floyd demonstration happened, then some people may kind of slow down, may kind of be realistic in what damages they cause to a country because they see themselves in that situation. They played a role in construction of those things, so it cannot be so reckless.
To hear that and think, well, young people also tend to vote democratically, at least in the past few
The
elections.
very few that vote do.
Yes.
That's right.
Does that have anything to do with this proposal?
No, actually. I happen to be running as a Republican, but I told the audience upstairs the same thing. I could care less for partisan distinctions between Republican and Democrat. What I care about is whether or not we are pro-American. Do we stand for the ideals that this country was founded on? Do we believe in those ideals? Or do we wish to apologize for a nation founded on those ideals? That's the real distinction in American politics today. And I stand on the pro-American side much more than I do on some Republican or Democrat side.
And now you talk.
So I believe even in this country we have been so divided in terms of politics because we have been having Kenya Kwanza. In the US it's about Democrats and Republicans. So those are the really issues which must especially face the youths because they are kind of so divided. And this is what Vivek Ramaswamy is against. He wants to unite the Americans, and they go together in what the founding fathers of the American nation built the country on. So I really need your thoughts for those who are from America. What are your thoughts about Vivek Ramaswamy, his ideas, his beliefs? Can you give him an opportunity to run this country from 2025? My name has been Monsieur Augustine. As usual, if you haven't subscribed, just subscribe, hit the notification bell. Remember to share for the purpose of the Arrogal team. Like this video also. See you in my next one. Peace.